How do I find the base area of a cylinder? What is the base area of a cylinder? What shape is that? Yeah. It's a circle. Okay, so if I find the area of the base and I multiply it by the height, I can find the volume of this cylinder. Okay, the whole thing. So, this is the radius, and let's say that the radius of this cylinder is 3 and the height is 8. How do I find the volume of a cylinder? Not the circumference. What am I finding? The base, look up there, the base area. I would find the circle area. Pi r. Okay, that's the base area. Caitlin, where are you at? Caitlin, what's the radius? It is. It's 3. Okay, so I'm going to actually move this. Okay, the base area is pi r squared. Caitlin's right. It's going to be pi times 3 squared. Does anyone know what, Isabella, what's 3 squared?
9.
Okay, so this is going to be 9 pi. We could leave it like that, like we learned yesterday, or
28.26.
Or it's 28, let's say 0.3. Then I find the base area, like I did over here, the yellow part, and I multiply it by the height. What's the height of my cylinder here? Isabella?
8.
8. So I would take the base area and I multiply it by height. So I take my 9 pi and I multiply it by 8, or I can take 28.3 and multiply it by 8. I'm going to get the same answer either way. All right, what's 9 times 8? Caitlin? 72. So this is going to either be 72 pi, or what's 28.3 times 8? What is it, Jacob? All right, so that would be the volume. Now, look at the units for my prism. Okay, it's units what? Cubed. Very good. That's a really good word to use, cubed. Units cubed. All volume, no matter what object you're looking at, are going to have units cubed. So, if my answers for these problems are 72 pi or 226.4, what do I have to add to those to make it a correct answer? Jacob? Units cubed. Both of those answers are acceptable. And actually, both of them are equivalent. Both of them are equivalent. Let's try 2 on our own, because I know that this is a little bit more difficult of an assignment. Okay? This time I'm actually going to give you your equations to work with. All right, I want you to write these down. You don't have to draw them, but you do need to label them. We are going to go with triangular prisms. We are going to go with rectangular prisms. I'm drawing a triangular prism like so. I'm going to draw a rectangular prism as well. Okay, here's the thing about prisms, cylinders. All right, notice that I've colored the base of each one of them. Okay, this right here is the base, and it has an area. And then over here, this is a base. And it has an area. And then over here, this is a base. And it also has an area. But each one of them is a little different. How do you find the area of a triangle? Yep, so we do 1/2 the length times the width, or the base times the height. So I'm going to call this back here, this is a right triangle. I'm going to call this the length, and that right there the width. Notice that's 3 dimensions. Okay? Then you take that base area and you multiply it by height. So you take that and multiply it by height.
You already used height.
I did not. Notice my letters. I used L, W, and H. On a rectangle, the base area is just the length times the width. And then you would just go ahead and multiply that by height. So over here, you'd have length, width, and height. So the volume equals length times width times height. That's by far the easiest one. You're just measuring the three sides. Over here, it's a little bit more complicated because you have that triangular base. So volume equals 1/2 the length times the width times the height. Now the base area on a cylinder is, as Savannah had said, it's pi r squared. And then you multiply that by height. So the volume is going to be pi r squared. So in theory, I have 3 formulas. I have one for cylinders. I have one for rectangular prisms. And I have one for triangular prisms. We're going to do one problem in class together because we have just a little bit of time. And they tell me this is 2. Just try drawing it. Okay, here we go. The base areas. This is the base of my prism because it's the triangle. And the other base is right here, like so. Those are my bases. All right. I know that the height in the back is the same as the height in the front, so I'm going to put a 2 right there. All right, Isabella? Isabella, we have a triangle right here. We have a triangle right here. What is the area of that triangle? How would I find it? Okay, I would take half the base of that triangle times the height of that triangle. So to find the area of the base, I'm going to do 1/2. What does that equal? Caitlin? It equals 7. Now, we just did the first part right here. What's the last part that we have to do? Isabella? Times height. And in this prism, the height is the distance between the bases. What number haven't we used yet? 4.5. So we are going to take that 7, which is the area of this base, and we are going to say that it's like going this distance 4.5. So 7 times 4.5 gives us what as an overall volume? 31.5. And Jacob, what are the units? Squared or cubed? Cubed. Very good, Gretchen and Savannah. You're right. It would be inches cubed because the problem is in inches. I had forgotten to write it down, so I just went units cubed.